Hello guys and welcome back to the UK LoL Customs Game 1 of this incredible incredible day. We have You Want Some here versus Team Heisenberg, and we are almost onto the Rift. I'm joined by my lovely co-caster Biscuit. We're just into the loading screen, getting ready and raring to go. Biscuit, what do you think is going to happen in this League of Legends game?
Well, I'll be interested to see the... Oh, we have in fact just dropped into the game proper.
Oh, I got the little spectator delay thing. Okay. Let's have a look at some silhouettes, guys. Look at that. Wonder who Salvador is. Nami with a little bit of water rotating around it. Oh, a little Navi. Didn't realise we were playing Legend of Zelda, guys, but Gankikus Jr. has brought the Navi in with him, and we are actually now ready to get onto the Rift.
Okay.
Okay.
So it looks like it's going to be fairly standard item starts over. Bottom of the Veigar is picking up that crystalline flask. It looks like he's not going to do anything too offensive to start off with. A little slow item buys out of some of the members of You Want Some, but we'll be interested to see if they're going to try for any early aggression here.
It's quite possible that they might. I mean, obviously they didn't want some items quick enough to get out of their base, but looks like Heisenberg are going to be relatively safe. We see a lot of safe starts from teams these days. You Want Some going to push their head into this tri-bush. No one's there for them. And so that female bot lane against the mostly female bot lane. I mean, Ezreal's basically a woman, isn't she?
I just don't know what to say to that.
Female versus female in the bot lane. Safe starts on both teams. Gankikus will be starting up at his Grump, which is what we saw him do yesterday as well. And looks like Contact Zero will be making zero contact with Gankikus or with his red buff in the early game. He'll be starting at Grump as well and picking up the blue first.
There looks like there's fairly heavy ward coverage coming out from the yellow trinkets. A little bit more... have all the warding trinkets been used?
There's two still available. Star Striker, not a star of warding, still has hers. And Loza has not put down a Loza wards. Still got hers as well in that bot lane. But you tend to see, the support does tend to hold on to it for the lane, especially when you're in these slightly less coordinated games because you can't keep track of the enemy jungler quite as much, and we will just see a Loza keeping that one for the lane as they get into that bottom lane. But what do you think of mid lane? Veigar into Lissandra. I've seen it a couple of times. Lissandra tends to win out early.
Well, yes. I mean, Veigar, by his very nature, is going to be trying to spend most of the time farming up. But okay, looks like we're going to go into the jungle league proper. Starting off at the Gromp on the red side, and much the same on the blue side as well. I think you're right with the holding onto the ward for the Karma, because this particular Karma isn't starting with a ward actual item. It's more important for her to hold onto that ward for the lane itself.
It definitely helped them out. Ruby Crystal start on Salvador is actually an interesting one, especially on Nami. I'd like to do it on Thresh because you can get that early Sightstone, and you have to assume that's what she wants to do on Nami, but you tend to see Namis go for the Ancient Coin or the Frost Fang equivalent, just because it gets you a little bit more damage in lane and you can sustain up a little bit more with your ebb and flow as well.
Yes, I do kind of feel like she's going to suffer a little bit for taking longer to... Well, she's not going to take longer to get to the Sightstone, but I wonder if she's going to feel some consequences from that later on because of the lower gold income at this point. Perhaps Nami's going to take some damage for the bot lane and thus secure them with the kill early on. Could be the idea, I'm not sure.
Quite possible, especially against a heavy harass lane like a Karma. She might just be thinking, I want to keep myself sustained a little bit more. I can run passive mana regeneration through my runes and masteries anyway, so just go for this little bit of extra harass, and it's paying off for them at the moment. They are level 2 first, meaning they can put a little bit more pressure down onto Hyam, Scottish and Loza, but nothing major going on at the moment. Meanwhile, mid lane, Lissandra 7 CS ahead of Veigar already, pushing him back into the tower.
Yes, I'm thinking that's going to be happening quite a lot during these early stages. As to how heavily it's going to affect Veigar's power as the game wears on, I suppose it's really going to make a difference if we see the gank coming in the mid lane. It looks like at the moment neither one of the junglers are making any particular overt moves towards any particular lane. It looks like they're just going to pick up their buffs and then, I presume, head towards whichever lane looks most gankable at the time. Red top side certainly pushed him very heavily there. But the blue side jungler well out of position for any kind of counter-offensive. Better nerf Saul getting a bit of harass then, but it's looking relatively even. I kind of feel that with Nami's ability to sustain in the bot lane, the extra damage that that the... oh, here we go.
Nice condemn into the wall. Hi, I'm Scottish is going to be there. The Inspire popped on him. Not going to be able to chase down Salvador. She flashes away, but better enough swords the next target. He manages to Arcane Shift away, and the Sonic Wave just missing. Meanwhile, mid lane, we saw Red was engaged on there by Contact Zero, but Contact Zero had actually been spotted out by a ward already. So Red was able to get himself away.
Yes, it was a nice body block from the Ezreal there, making sure that his support did not suffer an untimely fate.
He might suffer one himself, though. Dear me, that's a lot of harass coming out from Karma.
Yes, I don't think he's expecting that level of burst. If that Tether had managed to finish, I think he would have been the end of him. Unfortunately, I didn't quite see if the Vayne was in a position to really follow up on that. I have a feeling it was a zoning attempt. Oh, mid lane.
Mid lane, Red going aggressive again. He's going to Glacial Path. Actually follows it up, and Contact Zero's around the corner here. A nice event horizon by Insuandi, and they're going to jump onto this Lissandra, but Gankika's coming in for his own gank at the moment. They're going to try and turn and burn. Red has to flash away. Insuandi is the target. He flashes away as well. Contact Zero there, very low on HP, as is Insuandi, and they do just manage to back away. No one dies, and flashes burn all around. Contact Zero, the only one out of the three of them, still with his flash up. Of course, Gankika's coming in late for that gank, managed to keep his up all along.
Yes, that was a very nice counter gank from there. Only the red team having the ward of the bush to really give them proper vision around that area, so I don't know if it was just good fortune that Lee Sin happened to be in the area, or if it was that he was intentionally watching out for that particular thing to happen. But yes, very back and forth.
Yeah, exceptionally back and forth. And Stalker's Blade being picked up on both the junglers now means that they want to go for that aggressive early push onto the lanes, get those ganks off as much as possible. And I'm actually surprised by it on Contact Zero. I know he likes it, but on a Sejuani, you tend to see Ranger's Trailblazer just because you've got so many slows as part of your kit anyway. You've got the Permafrost, you've got the Flail of the Northern Winds, you've got the Arctic Assault as well as you get in there, and usually you'd see a Stalker's Blade on someone who needs the slow to help them hit those skill shots. You don't really need that on a Sejuani. You've got enough in your kit.
I was having a look through the gold totals at this point because it looks like Team Ryu wants some have managed to pull a very tiny amount ahead, but it looks like it has evened up during the course of me actually checking that.
Yeah.
Which now I just feel foolish.
You can say it's very even all round in the gold at the moment. There's only about 100 gold in it, maybe even only 50 gold in it, really. And a little bit sitting on the mid lane, of course, we see a very, very minor advantage for Red. He's about 100 gold ahead of Insuandi, and you have to think that's from the gank, but now Insuandi's 6 has got that primordial burst, and Red's going to have to be a lot more careful in that lane.
Let's have a quick check on how many stacks Vegas managed to accumulate at this point. Is it going to tell us?
If you click on it, you can see, I think. Oh, actually, gank in the mid lane. Insuandi, Frozen Tomb goes in, and look at the gank from Ganky, because he lands the Sonic Wave, he resonates, strikes, and he says, do you want some? Because I will fight you IRL. Picks up the kill, and it's first blood for the blue side.
Well, Sejuani taking what comfort she can from the light of the pink ward, which is presumably there to keep any counter-jungling attempts at bay. But Lissandra now free to roam. I'm not quite sure what she's doing. Oh, she's going to go make friends with Mr. Krabs next to the dragon.
Lissandra has crabs. Heard it here first, guys. This is the daily dot of the Rift. Lissandra picks up crabs from the river, and you have to be careful around public places like that, pools, etc. You can get verrucas, you can get crabs. Very, very dangerous.
That might be telegraphing some sort of future dragon attempt for them, but it looks like from their position on the map that's not actually going to be the case. I can't help but feel that perhaps her time would have been better spent in the mid lane, pushing the lane, than taking Mr. Krabs, but she's going to pick... she's got that blue buff now. Which isn't the case of Vega, who looks like he's going to go take his own blue buff while Sandra gets her minions pushed back towards the base, towards her own turret, sorry.
It looks like actually Contact Zero is going to take the blue buff.
Bot lane is a little bit more harass going on. A bubble did land, but Ezra wasn't really able to follow up. Still, Karma looking up pretty shaky at the moment with very little mana, and it looks like Vayne's going to be more or less by herself for the time being.
That's definitely what it looks like, and actually something we haven't talked about a lot in this game is we've got Gankikus Jr. versus Gankikus, and do you think this Aurelia is good? Like, do you think she's going to start targeting out Lee Sin as we get later into the game? She's a little bit ahead in her lane already. We see the Bilgewater Cutlass picked up on Star Striker on the Shyvana, but if she can get to that Triforce stage, you have to start worrying about that Aurelia, and I'm surprised that Gankikus hasn't put more pressure down on that top lane when Aurelia does scale so well into the later game.
I'm also surprised by this. I'm assuming it's very Highlander-esque, and that the end of the game will come when one Gankakus proves their dominance over the other.
Yep, that's definitely what's going to happen.
But yes, I do think you're completely right. They really are being left alone so far. I mean, to be honest, the top lane just seems to be mostly ignored by the teams. Oh, here we go in the mid lane.
Red is the target, but Insuandi is not going to follow this one up. Gankakus was just around the corner, has picked up his own red, so they need to be a little bit careful. I've seen a couple of times Contact Zero being a little bit over-aggressive without the rest of his team there to back him up, and I think that's what we were spotting out there. Gankakus is going to try and come in for the gank in mid lane, but Contact Zero is here. They're going to turn and burn onto Lee Sin. Event Horizon connects as well. Glacial Prism's available.
Oh.
Gankakus gets destroyed. Frozen Tomb. Red trying to keep himself alive. Glacial paths away. The Glacial Prism is there for Contact Zero if he wants to go in. Actually already used it, and Insuandi Baleful strikes for the win. Heisenberg, we are the one who knocks, and they're knocking down champions at the moment on the side of You Want Some.
Well, yes, that fierce damage coming out from the Veigar. And bot lane, it looks like there's going to be more of the same.
Yep, there's a tidal wave coming in from the Nami. They're going to turn onto Hi, I'm Scottish. Will he be going down like a battered sausage on a Sunday night? No, he won't. He manages to escape. And I'm not sure how well a battered sausage on a Sunday night goes down, but I'm going to pretend it goes down pretty well.
Oh my gosh. I'm glad we don't have picture-in-picture on this thing.
Anyway, Gankus Jr. going to be the target in top lane. Has to flash away from Star Striker, who puts out a lot of damage with the Twin Fangs and the Burnout. Now, he's actually leveling up that Burnout first. Do you think that's just for the clear, or do you think it's for the movement speed as well?
I think he feels like at this point he can...
Oh, he's going to go in, Dragon's Descent under... Oh, the Equilibrium Strike on the tower. Star Striker will get away, though. A nice kill pick up for him. Didn't even pop the Bilgewater Cutlass, and it's a very dead Aurelia in a 1v1.
Yes, I think you're exactly right. I think that she felt like... Oh, Star Striker felt she did have the advantage over... Gankus Jr., sorry. And did abuse that by jumping in at high speed and stamping her authority. Perhaps we have a third Gankus in the making.
Quite possible. Gankikus Senior? No, Gankikus... Gankikus Junior. There we go.
Ah, Junior Senior.
Junior Senior. Junior Senior. A bit like Walter Junior, but without the...
Yes.
Without the crutches.
I like the way you tied that back to our theme.
Back to Heisenberg in the end of the day. We see a little bit of a push coming out from Insuandi in the mid lane. He's got that red buff, of course. Actually going for a Rod of Ages first on Veigar. That's going to be a very tanky Ledo Yordle. And maybe he can help curl his way towards victory, towards a gold medal for his team. We see Contact Zero coming in for a gank again onto LoL UK Red. And nice! Stopping of the Glacial Path there, and Red gets destroyed by Contact Zero. A great Event Horizon stops him from being able to jump away. And your Glacial Path might be there, but you can't follow it if you're frozen in place.
Nicely put. It looks like Red Team are gearing up for a go at the Dragon. They've already got the ward down in the lane brush, but Mr. Krabs being
another
dead.
Event Horizon mid lane. Gankikus is going to get destroyed, absolutely melted where he stands. Star Strikers come all the way down from top lane, but Insuandi so tanky with that Rod of Ages means that they can go under the tower. Baleful Strike almost enough. Insuandi flash auto! And it's not quite a flash banana, but they do make a meal of it and pick up 3 kills.
Oh man. But yes, Veigar is so dangerous in that way. The amount of burst he can put down is pretty horrendous. And he is leveling up his Event Horizon as a priority, lengthening next stun. While in bot lane, there's a little bit more harassing on, but nothing too serious. Yeah,
bot lane's actually been relatively quiet out of all of these lanes. The only other lane that's been... I guess mid lane's really been where all the focus has been, and we've had a little bit of aggression by Star Striker up in that top lane, but now that he left, he's given up a lot of pressure to Gankus Jr., who's got 83 CS to only 70 there on Star Striker, and now has the teleport as well. It looks like Gankus going to come into the bot lane. Final hour pop by Hi, I'm Scottish. The tidal wave, it doesn't connect at all. Bad enough, Sword gets taken out, but here comes Insuandi from the side. Event Horizon isn't going to connect on anyone. There's a teleport coming in from Gankus Jr., though. They need to be careful. Loza has no mana in the backline. He's going to try and inspire himself away, and the teleport cancelled out there. Means that he can't join the fray. Here comes the Glacial Path across the wall. Frozen Tomb onto Insuandi. Does have Event Horizon back it up, and he's going to try and turn and burn onto Red here. No Primordial Burst for a few more seconds. Insuandi, a beautiful Event Horizon, and Gankus Jr. comes in as well. The Ice Shard misses. Is the Sonic Wave going to hit across the wall? I don't think it will. And Insuandi will escape to glory here. Oh, will he? Because Gankikus is trying to get his gank on, not quite able to connect. Insuandi backs away underneath the tower and will escape. No! Scottish comes in, but Condemn not enough. Gankikus coming from the side again. He flashes, he misses! Once more, Gankikus not quite able to connect. He gets taken quite low, and here comes Contact Zero. Can he make zero contact with Gankikus, or will he pull off the kill? There's the smite. Contact Zero still chasing onto this one. He's going to get onto that Lee Sin, and that is a blind monk, a dead monk. Heisenberg, Contact Zero picks up the kill.
I have to feel that that was a poor communication from the blue team there. There seems to be farming going on in the bot lane while poor Lysandra was up there by herself, but that was an amazing series of plays there. It looked like Vega
missed skill shot after missed skill shot. It's just like, what can we miss more?
Yes, because that team fight started in such a strange way. The blue team misses all its skill shots to start with.
Oh, Lozza's going to get taken out here, though. Look at that. Frozen Tomb across the wall. Glacial Prison there. Bad enough. Saul not quite connecting with the Mystic Shot means that we're not going to have to take him down quite yet. I actually like the fact that I just realised this. Team Heisenberg has better nerf Saul on their team.
Yes, that is entirely appropriate.
Yeah,
exceptionally. It may in fact be where the team name came from in the first place. I think it's too much of a coincidence to be otherwise.
We do not believe in coincidences here on the Rift. We only believe in Teemos and the fact that they should all die.
Yes, those Teemos. If it wasn't for the merchandising, he'd be long gone.
Pretty much. Looks like this tower is going to be pushed in the bot lane by Heisenberg and knocking on the door. And can they manage to pick this one up? Should be able to, but Gankikus coming in from the side once more. There is a pink ward in that bush, and they'll spot him out as he comes around. Can he connect? No. Once more misses the sonic wave to the side, but he jumps in. Insect mechanics. Quite nice there. Tidal Wave comes out, but Bednaff's going to get caught out. Salvador going to go down as well, and that is a dead Nami. Fish and chips for tea tonight, my dear. Vayne picks up a double kill.
That's very unfortunate for the red team there. Oh, here we go.
Oh, yeah, Gankikus coming in again, but the Event Horizon locks him down. Hasn't got the Mercury Treasure yet, went for mobility instead over that tenacity, and that's costing him dearly at the moment. Hi, I'm Scottish coming around the side. Event Horizon will be back up in just 3 or 4 seconds. Contact Zero coming in, nice condemn, but look at the damage from Primordial Burst. And this was all possible because Red and Star Striker decided to push out the top lane instead. They did get a kill, they did get a tower, but they paid their team's lives for it. Dear, dear cost. They steal away this red buff as well.
Well, yes, I don't know if they're going to consider it worthwhile. It looked like the red team were initially setting up for a dragon there before it all went horribly wrong. But yes, it seems to have quieted down after that. No teams really taking, well, apart from the tower, taking particularly serious objectives. Which I'm kind of surprised by.
They've just been taking joking objectives, the ones that laugh at you. Ah yes, red buff, that jocular objective that we always take.
The one that does giggle at me in the night.
Looks like Better Saul's going to try and get this tower. Should be able to pick this one up for himself, although Mystic Shot landing on Lozza means that he'll have to back away from tower aggro. One more auto, there we go. And he does pick it up. Ooh, the renewal coming out there into Andy with the Event Horizon right on their tip once more. Ooh. And Better Saul with a True Shot barrage across that Karma. She gets her just desserts really for that. She was a little bit aggressive and gets taken down.
Oh, I was deeply upset then. I was waiting for the pun to come in, but it just didn't happen.
The thing about making a joke about Karma is her name is Karma, so it's like
that's true.
It's a bit obvious. I could say something about Buddhism, I guess. And then you get into some realms where you don't really want to be treading. Oh, the steal from Gankikus. It's actually on 1 HP. He'll get taken down, but a beautiful little smite steal there. Shame for Contact Zero. He's smited with 1 HP left on that dragon, and the first dragon of the game is going to go across towards You Want Some. They did want some of that dragon, and they pick it up for themselves.
Yep, it looks like the red team are now spreading back out to their various lanes, but they're doing a good job of keeping together and applying their pressure very selectively. The Lysandra going back to bully out the mid lane a bit more, but I don't know. It does seem like we're seeing quite a few individual player mistakes here where they're getting caught out of position. I don't know if this Nami is going to be another one.
No, quite possibly. Bad enough Saul not in the best position either, but Vayne chasing onto Nami. Lozza actually picks up the kill there with Inner Flame coming out right at the last moment. Looking at gold actually at the moment, there's 2,500 almost sitting on Insinuandi. And what do you think he's going to back and buy? Do you think it's going to be a Rabadon's? Do you think he's going to go for a Deathfire Grasp or a Zonya's?
It's pretty hard to say. Well, at this point, he's got a pretty huge amount of kills. The difference between the score lines of Lysandra and Vega is massive. So I'm thinking it's quite likely he's going to end up with something. Okay, here we go. So we've got the
Zonya's.
Zonya's, that's surprising. I thought he would go for something a bit more offensive. Perhaps he wants to preserve that lead.
Yeah, he's doing very well anyway. And you can Zhonya's as Vayne tries to tumble in and condemn you. You can put the Zhonya's down as the Frozen Tomb might be coming out from red as well. It just gives you another second to get another Event Horizon off, or another 2.5 seconds to get another Event Horizon off, or to get some of your cooldowns down. And Veigar is very much a cooldown-based champion.
I think he must be very much aware that there's a big target on his back at the moment, since he is carrying, I want to say the majority of the team's gold. That's obviously not correct, but at least he has the largest amount in the game.
He's definitely the target at the moment for the side of You Want Some. They definitely want some of him. But not able to grasp onto him at the moment. He is a slippery tiny Yordle, almost as slippery as Salvador, but she's getting caught out once more. Flash Frozen Tomb from Red was a little bit over-aggressive and might cost them in a little bit, but they do pick up the kill onto that slippery fish.
Nami, let's see, how many times has Nami died in this game?
4.
Ooh, 4 times. I don't know, I can't help shaking the feeling that that's 4 times too many. I mean, I guess it goes without saying. But the times when I see her die don't really feel like they were completely necessary.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with that. A couple of times she has just been a little bit out of position, trying to get those wards down for her team, and it's something you risk being a support in these sorts of games, especially since we're not quite at ranked 5 levels of communication. People aren't quite on the ball as much as you'd want them to be. We see people going a little bit too aggressive and perhaps not following up on your warding as much as you'd like. Star Striker being one of these people going a bit too aggressive. Contact Zero comes in, knocks him back. It's going to be a very dead dragon. He gets taken down. We're actually playing Skyrim at the moment. He tries to get away with the Blade of the Ruin King. Actually going to be able to chase away quite quickly here. Gankikus Jr. will have Blade Surge up in 0 seconds and will use it as soon as he's got the mana for it, which is in quite a few seconds actually. There we go. Oh, better nerf Saul. Better nerf the range on Mystic Shot. He comes in and picks up the kill.
Still, I'm quite impressed that the Glacial Present was avoided there.
Yeah.
I get the impression that Shyvana was not expecting that Ezreal to turn up from that particular side of the screen.
Yeah. Surprised by a sneaky Ezreal, and she goes down. The Frozen Dragon not living for much longer. Meanwhile, we see Insuandi pushing out this top lane, going to get the tower as well, which is really nicely done by him. Accepting the fact that the rest of his team is going to chase down that Shyvana. He's not the quickest champion in the world. He'll pick that one up for his team. 3 towers to 2 now. Hi, I'm Scottish. Needs to be a little bit careful. He might have won in Independence. He's going to pop the final hour now. Contact Zero coming in as well. A beautiful bubble catches him out in mid-tumble. He's going to heal and try and get away from it with a quick Silver Sash picked up as a second item as well. But here comes the rest of You Want Some, and they definitely want some teleport coming in the backline. Salvador's going to go down once more. A noble sacrifice for his team, but here comes Gankikus Jr. Can Irelia do anything? Gankikus going on to bet enough, so he's going to get knocked in the wrong direction. Red UK is going into the middle of the fight as well. There's the True Shot Barrage. Tower goes down. The teleport coming in as well. They're going to have to back away. They should be able to escape from this one, though. And it looks like even with Star Striker coming in, no Dragon's Descent available. They will just be able to walk away from that one. They lose the tower. They pick up a kill in exchange for their support.
Yeah, Heisenberg played that one very well. At least it almost went down to the same tower for the second time.
Ooh, Star Striker needs to be careful. In Suandi, there's a ward in that bush. You're sitting on a golden ball. Dun dun dun.
Well, I don't know, but
it's funny. I found it funny, so it's fine.
I'm glad. I was just confused, but I was like, I thought
because it's a golden football in the bush. A ward.
Okay.
The ward was a golden ball.
Let's move on.
Yes, please.
Alright, so the goal difference is actually fairly minimal still. We're seeing both teams having knocked over 3 turrets at this point, and a dragon coming back up fairly soon. At the moment, it looks like, because of the Scuttle Crab being taken out by the blue team, they're in a much better position to be aware of what's going on around the dragon. The blue team, Pink Ward, being savagely murdered. But still,
Disgusting.
the vision... Yes. Oh, Nami is actually doing a pretty good job of taking away as much as possible. Obviously, Mr. Krabs is immune to such things.
Yeah, that he is. Mr. Krabs, very difficult to treat, I find, and he's just going to stick there with his antenna up in the air, notifying everyone to his presence, but not allowing you to get rid of him at all. And it does give good vision across towards You Want Some. We'll be down relatively soon, about 30 seconds left on that, but it looks like with Gankikus Jr. in the top lane, this is a prime opportunity for You Want Some to go for that dragon. However, Hi, I'm Scottish, not quite joined up with his team. He's trying to be independent, but Perhaps not the best decision. Event Horizon on Gankikus, that's the target! And that Lee Sin's gonna get destroyed. A nice Aquaprism as well. Star Striker goes in, but Insuandi off towards the side, they haven't spotted him. Hyam Scottish has though, and he's gonna go onto that Viger. Nice Frozen Tomb in the backline. Contact Zero's gonna go down, as is Salvador. No Aurelia for this fight. It's very, very bad. Hyam Scottish goes so low. Insuandi might be able to pick it up. Event Horizon does pick up the killer. Triple kill for Red on that Lissandra. But Salvador actually flashing the wall at the end as well, manages to escape. That is a very good little trade for them. Then actually going to give up the Dragon as well, which is not the best. Gankus Jr., of course, without the teleport, can't come across and save this. And with no jungler left for the side of Heisenberg, they won't be able to solidify this reptile for themselves.
This is particularly damaging for Team Heisenberg because of them not even having one Dragon buff at this point, so they're missing out on all that bonus AP and all that AD. I have to feel that once the first dragon's... I don't know what your opinion is on this, but I kind of feel like the first dragon's got to be the most important one.
I think the first dragon gives you a great buff as you get later into the game. It's definitely the dragon that scales the best. Perhaps apart from the second dragon, if you're going for a base trade type of scenario where you're just trying to push down towers, because of course you get the extra damage to turrets and buildings. But I think the first dragon scales the best. The third dragon, to me, is the most effective at helping you control the map because you get all of that extra movement speed. And of course the fifth dragon is the best dragon to get, but you have to have got the previous four before then.
Yes, I'm kind of discounting that as a likely possibility. The scoreline we're seeing here is pretty intriguing. There's a huge amount of kills stacked onto just a couple of players on Team Heisenberg, whereas that's not really the case for the blue team.
Yeah, I think Gankikus Jr. is kind of wishing that he had a few of these teams. Frozen 2 comes in, Red has to flash away there, it's the Dragon sent onto the backline, better enough Soul, caught off towards the side, Gankikus Jr. going very low, Transcendent Blades will keep him alive for just a second. Here comes Vigar though, and you need to be scared of that tiny Yordle. Gankikus is there, look at the damage coming out from Mystic Shot as well, double kill for better enough Soul. They're going to chase onto Lozo, who has no mana, and he's going to get slowed by the Iceborne Gauntlet. It's Wandy, Primordial Burst on Red, gets him very low, but here comes Hyam Scottish, he's going to get a lot of damage down with those silver bolts. He manages to dodge away, Lozo goes down as well, Hyam Scottish still chasing, he gets exhausted now though, and he doesn't have that Quicksilver Sash to keep himself alive. And now Insuandi says, yeah, you can have the minions, I'm just going to back off across towards the side. That Aristocrat Vayne not going to be chased down for long. Oh yes she is, the Iceborne Gauntlet proc just missing to the side with that Mystic Shot. Are they going to chase more? They are, and Hyam Scottish should just be able to get himself away. The Quicksilver Sash helping out Hyam Scottish so much in all of these team fights.
I mean, it felt so crucial there that Vayne was late to that party. If the Event Horizon was a little bit shaky from the Vega, which came out, I don't even know if it actually stunned anybody, but by the time Vayne turned up, the fight was more or less over. It seemed like for a second or so she could turn it, but they were able to play keep away well enough to stop her from being super relevant.
I totally agree. I think Gankikus Jr. really isn't having the effect that he wants to have in these fights, and he's trying to split push and farm himself up, but not doing the best job of that either. He's missing a few of these CS, and he's only 5 CS, well 7 CS ahead of his lane opponent, who's been roaming around a lot more.
Yes, I mean, it's going to make a huge difference having those. Well, Shyvana has dropped 4 kills for her 3 kills, so she's not contributing as much as she could be. But yes, it's surprising how well Shyvana's managed to keep up with Aurelia's CS, considering she spent a lot more time in team fights than she had in lane.
Aurelia has to be careful. Look at this squad coming up to gank her at the moment. Gankikus the head. They decide to back away from Gankikus Jr. Can't kill your own son today. It would be too harsh on him. Rylight's picked up on Insuandi as well. What do you think about that?
That's interesting. I'm assuming that Veigar thinks he's going to have to spend a bit of time looking after himself in these team fights.
Well, he should have spent a little bit more time looking at his positioning, because he's going to get engaged on a nice Zhonya's through the Frozen Tomb. Here comes Gankikus Jr. Star Striker right in the backline. Here comes Enough Soul, and there's no Vayne once more. You said it before. If he's not with the fight, they're not going to win it out. Gankikus is the next target. A Mystic Shot hitting onto minion line. Loza trying to get the damage down. Iceborne Gauntlet not quite going to proc properly, and they do manage to walk away. Look at the damage coming out from that Karma as well. She's got a Blasting Wand along with Sorcerer's Shoes. Perhaps would have been suited better to have a little bit more supporty item build there, but it's working out okay for her team at the moment. If she can hit those inner flames, especially if they're mantra'd and they have that extra damage on them, it can definitely do a lot for her team.
I could be talking entirely rubbish here, but it feels like we've got 2 halves of different teams. In the terms of Lissandra and Karma are both able to put down a lot of very strong poke from a sort of medium range, whereas the Lee Sin and Shyvana seem to demand a team that's going to jump heavily into a fight and just blow everyone up.
Yeah, I totally agree with you there.
They just seem to be at odds with each other. Because, let's say, for example, in that last team fight, they were Karma and Lysandra were actually doing a good job of doing a running team fight while, taking quick shots off, and they nearly managed to kill them, 2 versus 4 or 5. So, if that could be happening more, I could see the blue team winning more fights, but I don't know. I just think maybe it takes a little too long, perhaps, for the Karma's damage to really be worthwhile. Whereas, as you said, with the Nile, which I'm assuming is taking much more in terms of support items and tank items, it's going to be more useful overall to the team as a whole.
I think we talked about it a little bit in Champ Select as well. If they get that extra poke off early, then they can engage with the Shyvana and the Lee Sin and then get the Frozen Tomb on the back line as well, which is really, really strong for them, and then have Vayne being like, okay, well, now I'll auto-attack from Vayne to just keep myself safe. But if they keep going in really aggressively, like they have been for most of these fights, or if Gankus Jr. keeps going in really aggressively, then they're going to struggle to get that long-term damage off. And you see the end of the fight happens and all of the members of Heisenberg are low, but they've still got enough health to, survive the fight, and they're not easy to take down at all. If they have a little bit more poke before the fight starts, then I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing You Want Some winning out the fight.
At the moment, to be honest, the teams feel a little bit, a little bit lost until the dragons come up and they start focusing back on what they're going to be doing again. The vision is not so good this time around, but You Want Some have spent a little bit of effort in clearing. Still, the Mr. Krabs is curiously absent. I guess he must have expired in the intervening time. But Heisenberg are in a much better position vision-wise at this point. Whether or not they go for the dragon, try and draw out of the pit, so it's a little harder for You Want Some to get to that dragon. We'll see. It looks like it's going to be the case. So we're going to have to see a Shyvana throwing herself across the wall. Oh, here we go.
Yep, here we go. Red jumps in onto Better Enough Soul, who's out of position. They do manage to pick up the dragon on the side of Heisenberg. A beautiful Glacial Tomb. Salvador keeping himself alive as well. I'm Scottish trying to get as much damage off on that Vayne as he can, and it looks like he'll take out Contact Zero. Gankus Jr. is the next target. Star Striker on that Vigo in the back lane, and he should be able to flash across the wall. Star Striker not able to get on top of it. A great fight there for the side of You Want Some, but they do lose out on the dragon. It looks like I wouldn't be... Oh, they're going to go for mid lane tower. I wouldn't have been surprised if they said, let's go for Baron here.
I think it's a possibility, but at the same time, I kind of feel like they're going to it seems like they're going to push their luck a little bit and see if they can maybe pick up a couple of towers here.
Yeah.
At least that's the impression I'm getting from the way they're moving, which is to move past the tower as they're taking it to try and put themselves in a good position to take the next one. I don't see them getting an inhibitor at this point, though.
Now, especially with Vigar up, you have to be very cautious. I think the Vigar not being in best position for the last team fight. Gankus goes solo. Salvador actually picks it up with the ebb and flow bounces. Insuandi's going to try and chase onto Star Striker. Looks out there, get him down with the Primordial Burst. Red is the next target. Aquaprism not going to connect, but there's Better Enough Soul. He goes in, he picks up the kill as well. Hi, I'm Scottish off towards the side. There was a teleport in the backline by Gankus Jr. He won't be able to get around on this one. And I was about to say, Vigar wasn't in the best position for that last team fight. He had to back away very quickly, and we saw Better Enough Soul getting caught out to the front line. But if he can get in the middle of a team fight and get a lot of baleful strikes off, he's doing a huge amount of damage. They're going for Baron at the moment. Insuandi is going to try and back off onto Loza and Hi, I'm Scottish, who will try and come in from the side. There's no Quicksilver Sash up at the moment on that Vayne, and there's no life on Loza. He's going to have to back all the way around. And the Baron down to 3,000 HP already. Should be relatively easy to take. It's going to go down. Rift Scuttler, Mr. Krabs, well, Mrs. Krabs, we'll call the top one Mrs. Krabs, and will survive for the moment. Gankus Jr. will pick that one up now, and the Baron at 32 minutes goes across towards Heisenberg.
Yes, well, you mentioned the Baron, it does get taken. So I can't help but think that was a little bit greedy from You Want Some to try and hang around for that second turret, especially considering the amount of wave clear that Heisenberg had to throw at it. How much of a difference do you anticipate Baron making?
I think it's going to make quite a big difference, especially since we've seen how much Gankus Jr. likes split pushing. He's relatively tanky at the moment. He has only got a Warden's Mail and that Spectre's Cowl for tank items, but he's got his Triforce, he's got the extra tenacity from his passive as well, and he can probably face up against most people at the moment from the side of You Want Some. Maybe you struggle against Hi, I'm Scottish. He's playing really well on that Vayne, especially with the Blade of the Ruin King now. He'll be putting out a lot of damage, but I think if you can start getting a split push off now, especially with Gankus Jr. or even Insuandi, who's got teleport himself, that's when Baron really starts to pay dividends now, especially since it was changed in 4.20.
Yes, I mean that's the thing, you have to get the individual Baron buff units, heroes I suppose, to those lanes to actually apply that Baron buff to the units. So whether or not they're going to do that, it doesn't seem like it at the moment. It seems like they're going to push without any minions.
One of the problems they're making, one of the mistakes they're making, people don't realise this, is Baroned minions, if you're in range of them, they speed up. So if you're going to push a lane, make sure you've got some minions with you, or run back to them and pull them up with you, because they'll actually get to the towers quicker, and it helps you push it that little bit quicker.
That's a good point. I believe there's also an elixir which does something similar.
Elixir of Iron, I think, gives your teammates a movement speed buff. If they're behind you. I'm not sure about the other ones. I'm not 100% sure on elixirs yet, I'm afraid. Haven't done all of my studying, Biscuit.
Well, that's perfectly understandable. There are a lot of new things coming in this season. But yes, it does look like they're not going to take full advantage of that, of the pushing power afforded by the Baron buff, because yes, they're all just sticking around one lane. And I do feel a little bit like they're not going to really accomplish a huge amount here. They are now splitting off into the top and bottom lanes, as you said, Aurelia heading up there.
There's a big wave in their top lane as well.
It doesn't look like you want someone really in a position to take advantage of that big minion wave, though they're going to be playing very defensively for the time being, it seems. Just going out, clearing the jungle creeps, and then coming back to base, presumably just to hang out and avoid it.
Gotta hang out, gotta have a little party in your base party.
Yeah, well, absolutely. Very little seems to be happening at the moment. I'm not sure if well, we see, we've got 1 minute and 13 till the dragon. I don't know if they're just waiting for that to happen. Again, it does seem like a little bit like the teams, unless they have objectives specifically to take, are doing too much of anything. There's no pushing going on in any lane apart from the mid lane.
It's something you see a lot at this sort of level of play. People will. They know objectives, and they're like, yes, we need to control these objectives, yes, we need to control these bits of the map, so let's get vision, let's get control over this area. But they won't know what to do when there's a limited amount of time to the next objective. I like the fact Gangsters Jr. has started a slow push in the top lane. That will help push that wave against them, and it means in about a minute's time that will be up towards that tower. But you need to do that in all of the lanes before you can get around to this dragon. So it looks like Insuandi's going to do the same here. He needs to just take out probably the siege minion and the melee minions here, leave the rest of them up, and then they'll get a nice slow push going in time for them to go around to this dragon. But you want some of being like, we're not going to play your little pushing games. We're going to push down the mid lane and try and get perhaps a little trap sorted out here towards the top side of the map. Do they not? They have the dragon timer. They should know it's up in about 30 seconds, and I feel this is a little bit of mispositioning from You Want Some.
Absolutely. It doesn't feel at all like they're aware of that. We've got 2 people up on the top lane, which feels deeply unnecessary. And Red side have got very good control over more than the dragon area, in fact. If anything,
they're going to go on a high on Scottish. He flashes the wall, though. That was very aggressive play. Better Soul takes half of his health just from that Rabadon's Death Cup Karma. But it gives them the chance to push down mid lane, especially with the flash down on Vayne, and with Dragon coming up in a second, as you said. Those 2 people in top lane might cost them dearly.
At this point, I do feel it's more psychological than anything, that particular attack on them. It feels like what they did there was the attempt to try and intimidate the blue team out from coming anywhere near the dragon, but it hasn't worked, at least for Gagicus.
He comes in and he doesn't get it! He did have smite. What happened there? Oh, there was no smite on Contact Zero. Wasn't able to pick up. They're going to go into Gagicus. There's the True Shot Barrage. Picks up the kill. Insuandi flashed the wall as well. There was no smite on Contact Zero, so I think Gagicus, expecting the smite, waited a little bit. He smited a little bit early, really, and then we saw Better Soul picking it up. There's no Glacial Prison here on Contact Zero. It means he can't ult in there, but Insuandi against 2, his use is Zhonya's. Gangicus, oh, the Primordial Burst onto Red. Gangicus Jr. coming in from the side. Star Striker's there as well. They need to be careful because Higham Scottish is going to start wailing away with that Vayne on the backline. Salvador is there. Star Striker there, jumping across the wall. Higham Scottish picks up 1. He's on a killing spree. He picks up 2 as well. Actually, Loza getting the second kill there. Gangicus Jr. and Better Soul has to try and kite backwards from this one, but Higham Scottish showing his Vayne mechanics picks up another kill. Double kill for him. Is he going to get the triple? It looks like Aurelia is going to try and run away, but should be spotted out by her own ward, which she will be, which is of no help at all. The Mantra Inspire there should be able to pick up Aurelia. 1 more to attack an ace for Higham Scottish, and finally picks up the final kill for his team.
Just so hard to get away from that Vayne, especially with the assistance of the Karma. I'm interested to see what they make of this particular team fight, because so far so they are in fact going to try and finish what they started earlier, which is getting massacred at the inhibitor. But perhaps not this time. Well, still, we've got Sejuani and Nami both going to be up, but not really in a position to stop this push on the turret. There is a teleport coming in. from
Yankees
behind.
Jr.'s done this once before. Oh, it's actually Insuandi coming in from the side. Hi, I'm Scottish. Awful position there because here comes Vygar, picks up one. Going to turn and burn onto Gankus as well, who will just use that safeguard to jump away to the ward. A victorious ward. Will he be victorious in this game? We'll have to wait and see. Got a little bit of time waiting on that.
So that's the first time this game we've really seen Vygar make use of the teleport in an offensive fashion, at least that I recall. Using that in combination with the home guard boots to run in at some great speed. Am I right in thinking the home guard speed effect is not just a out of combat effect? Does it apply even if you start fighting people?
It starts ticking down when you start fighting people.
Oh, okay.
So like it applies for, I think it's about 5 seconds out of base, but if you auto attack someone, you still have it for a little bit of time.
Alright, so Mrs. Krabs goes down. And looks like they're going to set up for a Baron attempt, but I don't feel too comfortable about this.
I think it's okay. Gankus gets caught out. It's even better now. Look at that damage onto Lee Sin. He's going to have to back away. Primordial Burst comes out as well. Didn't really want to use it on Lee and Insuandi. Off to the side here. Tidal Wave on Starstriker as well gets him caught out. They need to be a little bit careful. Starstriker Dragons are sent in, but a nice Zhonya's from the Vygar keeps him safe. Red is going to be the next target, and Gankus Jr. picks up that one. Going to turn and burn onto Lozo as well. Hi, I'm Scottish waiting around the bush though. The final hour comes out. Ganking it, trying to get the kill there with the tumble off to the side. Silver Box blocks are huge at the moment. Contact Zero, he's pushed away, but Hi, I'm Scottish is going to be the target. The Mystic Shot is going to connect, get the Iceborne Border Croc off, and eventually I'll find my words. They pick up the kill, and Vygar picks up the Karma as well. It's an ace for Heisenberg. They've been knocking on the door, and eventually they've decided to start cooking, stop messing around, and pick up the Baron.
Oh man, so the story of this game, Vayne turns up just a little too late to make the real difference. Showing the amount of damage he managed to put out was crazy. He almost managed to make the difference, but just really just not there at the right time. They felt like they were going in a one by one.
Definitely did, and they have picked up their second Baron of the game now, but they didn't really do a huge. I've accidentally turned on all of the Fog of War. They didn't really do a huge amount of it with the last one. They're 5,000 gold up, and perhaps now they'll think we can do a little bit more, especially with Aurelia now 5 and 6. She's got her Mandarin, she's got her Spirit Visage, she's got her Trinity Force as well, so she's pretty much fully built for an Aurelia. All she needs now is a GA and a Blade of the Moon King, and she'll be absolutely massive. And Insuandi is basically fully built, just building up towards that Void Staff you had to expect. I'm surprised we don't see more Oracle's lenses coming out on the side of Heisenberg, just because you've got a Vayne on the enemy team, you want to be able to spot her out, and you don't have any item slots for pink swords anymore. I think a couple of Oracle's lenses would really help them out.
Oh, absolutely. I find it also unforgivable that the Karma does not have a Mikhail's Crucible
Yes.
at this point, because it just seems so obvious, considering how she's being played, to try and, just for if only for the mana regen.
She's got spooky ghosts, though. She's got spooky ghosts, man. You can't.
Yes.
Look at how spooky she is.
Those ghosts are pretty spoopy. I can't deny the appeal there, but still, be able to just protect that AD carry from the multitude of stuns that are coming her way seems so useful. To not have it, just it makes me mad. It does.
I totally agree with you, especially since she's already got the Mercurial Scimitar herself. Another stun removal would be so helpful. A couple of Event Horizons in a team fight, or an Equilibrium Strike, or the Glacial Prism being locked away. That's so helpful for your team, especially since now Vayne has stepped up and is being the main damage dealer, being the main threat really here on the side if you want some. She's definitely stepped up to the plate. Starstrucker trying to come in from the side, has the Banshees, so difficult to lock down, and we see a couple of Banshees being picked out across the board at the moment. One being built towards by Gankikus again. Starstriker, Loza going to be the target. The Banshees does come in, but the Event Horizon is huge. Nice knock up on the Dragon's Descent there with a Tidal Wave. Starstriker is going to go down. A very dead dragon, and in the Game of Thrones, either you win or you die, and Starstriker has died away there. Khaleesi not going to live for much longer. The Inhibitor Tower is going to be taken out, and they're going to push down towards the Inhibitor as well. They've got Baron buff minions here. They might even push towards the Nexus. Can they take out the towers? The Sonic Wave hitting here. Comes LOL UK Red into the back line. Look at the damage onto him, though. He gets taken out. Better enough Saw. You better enough Ezreal at the moment. High up Scottish goes taken down as well. Contact Zero makes zero contact while he picks up the kill. Equilibrium Strike onto Gankikus, and that's a very deadly Sin. Gets taken out with a final Mystic Shot. Better enough Saw picks up the kill. This has to be game here for Heisenberg. They knocked and they knocked and they knocked, and in the end, Science Bitch pays off once more. And it looks like Heisenberg will take the win.
It's very painful when you see a team just not accepting that the mistake's been made. So another person dives in to try and save them, they die too. The rest of the team, though, I can't help feel as well, the one thing I did notice just before that team fight happened, the Sander was in the bottom lane farming.
Yeah.
So perhaps it's an issue of team coherency that's really, making them suffer here.
I totally agree. It's a very difficult one, especially when we're playing these custom games where people perhaps don't know each other that well. You don't have the communication. You don't have you trust everyone on your team to play to their best of their capability, but you can't trust them as much as you do someone you play with regularly, because you don't know how they play. You don't know how they want to play. And it's like we see even in LCS and things like that. When Genja and Edward split up, you saw Genja didn't seem quite as good a player as he used to be. Edward didn't seem quite as good a player as he used to be. And then they came back